Yo, what's good? I'm at a park that I've never been to before in a city that I've never been to before. I am just fully immersed in the unknown right now, and I am so excited to make this video because my life has completely transformed from doing the meditations that I've been doing over the last 50 days. So the way that I'm going to structure this video is going to be three different things. The first thing is I'm going to share with you a little bit before I started meditating and what led me to meditation. And then I'm going to share two pretty profound stories that has happened during these last 50 days. Now, to really give you the full picture of what's happened and all of the craziness and the beauty that has unfolded in front of me, I'll be honest with you, it's actually way too much to count, and how much this has benefited me. So the two stories that I'm going to tell you today, I feel are really profound enough to hopefully guide you into doing the meditations yourself if you're curious about them. However, these stories are just a little bit of the scope in terms of how it's transformed my entire life. So, to get into it, before I started meditating, I recently released a book. It's called The Real Nigga Bible for All Races. You can actually get the free book in the description below. I made it for free for people to read and laugh and all that kind of stuff. I really just want to be able to give to a bunch of people. And just, it's fucking fun, dude. I don't give a shit, man. I don't give a fucking shit, dude. Hell yeah. However, I am fully aware that this book has the power to go viral, and that's part of why I made it for free as well, to help with the virality so more people can share it and it gets around easier that way. And along the way, I've been working at this bar and I can see the potential in this book. So what I started to do was I started to mail out a bunch of copies to a bunch of big influencers that I feel could bring me onto their platform so I can share this book, make it go viral, and then become rich as fuck. So I was mailing out books to like Joe Rogan and Kai Cenat and Gideon, and I started going to comedy clubs where performers who I think would really resonate with the book would really love it, and literally just hand them a copy of the book while they're on stage. So I was buying these like VIP tickets, and I would go see people like Dion Cole, or I would see someone like, Felipe Esperanza or Arsenio Hall, and I would intentionally sit as close as I possibly can to the stage and hand people copies of the book. And as fun as that sounds, it was actually extremely stressful. I love stand-up comedy. I love it tremendously, but I was just stressed out in the fucking comedy show. Like, should I hand them a copy of the book? Like, when's the perfect opportunity? I'm like kind of present, but not really present. And I got my book into the hands of several of these people. And, Dion Cole said I did a good job with the book. And, Felipe Esperanza made a bunch of jokes about it. And it was awesome. But the thing is, like, it just was so fucking, like, stressful because I was looking for an opportunity. And I was not enjoying the journey along the way. And I was putting so much effort into getting this book to go viral that it just caused so much stress in my life where I'm like, dude, I need to go into therapy and I need to start meditating. So I signed up for therapy, and The day after I signed up for therapy, I used the app Calm, and I did a 10-minute meditation. And the next day, I did another 10-minute meditation in the morning, but in the evening, I did a 42-minute meditation of a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation. And that meditation was so profound for me. It felt like the opposite of trauma had occurred in my body. When we experience trauma, oftentimes it's an event that's so emotionally potent, and with those emotions are typically associated with fear, terror, fright, things of this nature. And what happened was, I feel like in my body, instead of those negative emotions, I felt like an event had occurred in my body, but the exact opposite happened, where I actually felt feelings of like joy and gratitude and love. And that had such a profound effect, because it felt like my subconscious was embedded. It felt like those emotions weaved into the depths of my subconscious. And what I had understood from that is, I gotta do more of this. So it became my meditation journey, and I started meditating every day. Now, this brings us to the first story of the profoundness that I've experienced from the meditations. Before I was born, when my mom was 7 months pregnant with me, her older brother died of having AIDS. Before he passed away and he was basically a vegetable, my grandmother was so upset with him and this and what happened that she ended up beating his ass with a pillow. And this had a very traumatic effect on my mother. And not just that, while she was pregnant with me, my father got sentenced to prison for 2 years. And they just moved from Long Beach to a city called Moreno Valley. So now my mom is living in a completely new area. She has to grieve the death of her brother, grieve the loss and support of her husband. And now she has to take care of 3 children. And this has had an effect on how I experience love in my life. When I was born, my older sister, she was responsible for looking after me for a while. And her being 12 years old, she doesn't know how to take care of a child. And I'd just be crying and crying and crying. And instead of helping me regulate my nervous system with her presence, she locked me in a room and just let me cry all day. And this has put a tremendous amount of fear into my body in relations to love in my life, and my sense of worthiness and deservingness of receiving love from people, but especially women. I don't blame my older sister. When I was 12 years old, I was playing Guitar Hero on Expert. I mean, it was a fucked up situation, but that has affected me in my life. Today, I'm 28 years old. I never had a girlfriend, and I spent the last decade really looking to gain validation from women and hoping that their validation would help me feel more whole with myself and feel better about myself. And I'm extremely ambitious, and I've done massive things that I put my mind to. I travel the world while having my own business, and I did that for a year, and I've just accomplished so much in my life. But really, I did it all because I really deep down just wanted to feel love, and I felt that the more accomplishments that I've had, I would finally get validation from women, and that finally make me feel enough and deserving of their love, and their love and the validation I get from them, also receiving validation from the men in my life, seeing women flock to me. I felt that I would finally give myself permission to actually be able to love myself. Now, the thing is, I've been running this pattern unconsciously for pretty much my whole life. And I guess maybe I became more aware of it within the last decade or so. And I would often feel very nervous and afraid and timid to talk to women. And I understand I'm a very attractive person. I'm light-skinned, got a nice smile, I'm tall, I got great charisma. But none of that matters when there's a deep sense of feeling of unworthiness beneath it all. And when I began to meditate, what happened was this pattern began to break because I was no longer living in my head and in my body. I began to just become aware and present and no longer attached to the unconscious stories and unconscious patterns that I ran my entire life. And I began breaking free from that. So I work at a bar. And in Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations, he has you visualize a future in which you want. And in this future, I typically visualize several things. One is I'm speaking on stage in front of groups of people, and I'm providing value. Another thing that I visualize, art is everything for me. And I want to live my life in a way where I have enough financial abundance to where I can travel the world and experience the greatest art this world has to offer. I visualize myself spending weeks in Paris, visiting the Louvre for a week or two, and just being able to sit and be around that art. I picture myself being in Italy and experiencing this incredible architecture, going to Burning Man and just experiencing the greatest art this world has to offer. And finally, I would visualize myself having women flock to me and throw themselves at me, and having an abundance of women come into my life. And about a week after I started visualizing this, I had women begin to initiate with me. They would shoot their shot with me. And although I am handsome and all this kind of stuff, this never really happened. And now I have women who are just throwing themselves at me. And one of the women who did so was exactly my type. So, white girl, freckles, like blonde / brown hair, green eyes. And she initiated with me, and we had exchanged Instagrams, and she said, if you don't hit me up, I'm going to be very upset. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. So that same day, we FaceTimed for like 2 hours, and I feel that I got a massive return on energy from this interaction. I'm like, this is awesome. But I really wanted to put all my focus towards my creative projects. So I was like, nah, I don't know if I should. Ended up having a conversation with my friend, and he's like, hey man, you know, it really is just all about experience in life. You should go for it. And I was like, you know, you are right. And I did receive a great return on energy. And one thing that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about in his book, Becoming Supernatural, is to get what you want, first and foremost, you have to have intention. What is it that you want? You gotta have elevated emotion, and you gotta immerse yourself in the unknown. And I was like, well, considering the fact that I get a good return on energy, this is going to help me with my manifesting. So I'll do it because it provides me with more energy to bring the reality in which I want closer to me. So we went on a date, and that date was phenomenal. We had a great first date. It was fucking awesome. We laughed, we cuddled, we made out, we watched SpongeBob, and I was like, man, this girl's about to be my girlfriend. This is incredible. We hung out the next day. We went to get ice cream. Now, while we were having ice cream, I realized that she didn't connect. By the way, I'm like next to a lake, so you might hear some boats and stuff. We didn't connect on like a deep spiritual level. It was very surface. However, I still had a great time. And the next day we had plans to go to the beach, and the beach is like an hour away. And I remember before I'm going to bed, I'm like, oh man, like that's a long drive. Like, what are we gonna really talk about? And I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this still, I guess, you know. I'm still getting a good return on energy. So we go to the beach, and it was exactly what I expected it. It was like, it's all right, you know, but I'm still having a good time. And on the way back to her mom's place, I have the thought in my head. I think to myself, universe, I don't know where you're leading me, but I trust that you're leading me where I'm supposed to go. I trust. I don't know where this is going, but we'll see. I'm still receiving a good return on energy. So obviously I'm moving into the direction you want me to go into. Now, I have to use the restroom, and she has to use the restroom. And she's not a public restroom kind of girl. And we're going back to her mom's house. That's where I parked. And I didn't really want to meet her mom because she told me about her relationship with her mom and the trauma she's experienced and all this kind of stuff. And I wasn't really interested in meeting her. But I got to use the restroom. So I go inside, and she shows me these chameleons that she has, and that was pretty awesome. And then I noticed this. I get out the bathroom, and she's talking to her mom in the kitchen, and I'm looking at this wall. And there's all this like Coca-Cola memorabilia. Like stuff that looks like is worth thousands of dollars. I mean, this one woman was like, there was like a painting of a woman holding a Coca-Cola can, and it looked like it was painted like in the 1930s or some shit. I'm like, that's very fascinating. But I wanted to get out of the house. So we chat, being kind, we leave. We're at the girl's trunk, and we have a cooler because we were at the beach, so we're taking the food out of the cooler, putting it into bags. Her mom comes out the house and says, hey, do you guys want to smoke a bowl together? I was like, I really wasn't trying to smoke with her mom. I'm really just trying to get out of here. But okay, we'll do it. So we go back in the house, and we're sitting in the living room, and her mom is talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, and she ain't talking about nothing. So I began to just tune her out. She turns into Charlie Brown's teacher. I'm looking around, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of interesting artifacts in this environment. They all each seem to be like an artistic thing. There's no cohesion to them. There's no like theme to them. Like I have someone who I know who has an Airbnb where the whole Airbnb is themed Disney, where everything placed in the environment, it all matches, it all kind of goes together. But none of this kind of goes together. It just seems like it's one thing, but it's all in relation to like some kind of artistic thing. I'm looking up and I see this like lamp, and it's like this beautiful mushroom lamp, and I'm like, that's a nice lamp. She goes, oh, it was made in the 80s. I was like, really? And I'm just looking around. I'm just becoming present. I'm like, there's a lot of interesting artifacts in this environment. And we smoke some weed, and then I look at I'm looking at these paintings on the wall. Oh, these are interesting paintings, and I wonder what these are about. So I ask her, I say, like, what's this painting right here? She goes, oh, it's a Dr. Seuss painting that blah, 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 blah. And she goes Charlie Brown again. And I'm like, did she just say a Dr. Seuss painting? I'm like, that's not like the actual Dr. Seuss painting, right? She goes, no, like he actually painted that one. I was like, what? And then the other painting, also a fucking Dr. Seuss. This woman had 2 original Dr. Seuss paintings hanging up in her living room. I didn't even know this nigga painted. I get out of my seat and I'm just blown away for 15 minutes. No exaggeration, just like, what, the entire time. That's how I am with art. I love art so much. And when we left the crib, I was like, that's exactly where the universe was leading me this whole time. I visualized myself experiencing the greatest art this world has to offer. The best was now behind us with this relationship with this girl. And the universe led me to great art in my very own backyard. It blew me the fuck away. And I was like, yo, like, this is legit as fuck, bro. This is unbelievable. So that's the first story. It was profound. And I feel that my heart chakra was blocked. And I feel like the profound experience I had like forced my heart chakra to open up. So that's the first story. And also, I've been a lot more aware, and now I see women looking at me all of the time. And I have women who are constantly making the first move. Constantly. I'm like, this is awesome. As a matter of fact, when I said constantly making the first move, I just saw a fish just leap out of the water and just and went back down. Thank you, universe. That was fucking beautiful. That was incredible. That was so awesome. I love it. It reminds me of this quote by Albert Einstein. He's like, there's 2 ways in which you can live: as if nothing's a miracle, or as if everything is a miracle. And I feel like the universe is always communicating to me. I feel like I'm so connected and one with the universe. So I feel like it's eliminated this feeling of unworthiness, not because of the attention that I'm gaining from women. I think the reason why I'm gaining this attention is because I have rid myself from looking for their validation to complete me. I already feel whole. I feel incredible. I feel so great. I feel grateful. I feel as if I've already accomplished the things that I want. And given the fact that there is no past and there is no future, and there's only the eternal now, I'm already in the reality that I want, because all realities exist right now, right here. So I'm already living the life that I want to live. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm already living the reality in the quantum field that I put my intention towards, because it already exists. Incredible. Wow. I mean, talk about eliminating a pattern in my life that I feel has kept me jailed for so long. The second story. A week ago today, I was doing a pineal gland meditation. It's an hour and 23 minutes. It's like $35 on his website. And during this meditation before bed, I visualized at the top of my head, the last chakra, like the seventh chakra before we get to the one that's outside above our head. I see my chakra and I see this like swirl. And the swirl is two colors. It's this beautiful chartreuse green, this light green, mixed with this amazing blue. It's like this turquoise neon blue. And I'd never seen this combination together, swirling together. It was so beautiful. And then the next day, I went to this entrepreneur event. And there's a woman who walks into the room, and you can feel the light radiating off of her. And she sits down, and we're talking, and it's like, wow, what a vibe. She says that she's also an author. She pulls out one of her books. It's the exact motherfucking colors that I visualized the night before. And I look at this book and I say, oh my God, wow, what the fuck? Sign from the universe. Remember how I told you earlier that I visualize myself speaking on stages in front of groups of people, adding tremendous amount of value? Turns out this woman has purchased an $8,000 course on how to build a public speaking business. And she needs help going through it with someone. I say, what? Oh my God, that's unbelievable. That's incredible. I'm like, this is so divine. Like, of course, let's do this. Let's make this happen. While we're talking, I'm currently writing my second book. On my YouTube channel, you'll find that I have a bunch of meditations, real nigga meditations. I had this idea to do these real nigga meditations the very first night that I did a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation. And I started filming these meditations, and I quadrupled the amount of subscribers that I had. Insane. Anyway, I thought it would be so great to do a book where, just like Marcus Aurelius, he has his book Meditations. What if I did Real Nigga Meditations? And I love it because it's a parody of this powerful text. And I'll also do my journals. And I love it because it goes well, because I'm already doing the Real Nigga Meditations on YouTube. But not just that, I have my other text, my other book called The Real Nigga Bible. And I just thought it's so cohesive with my brand, where it's like I parody these powerful texts. And I'm a comedian at heart, and I'm also a philosopher at heart. And to marry the two, it all lined up. And while we're having a conversation, I didn't tell her about any of this. I turned my head in a certain way. She goes, oh my gosh, you remind me of Marcus Aurelius. I said, what? Synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity. We have a great conversation. We exchange information. We make the decision to start going through the public speaking course the very next day. At the same event, I meet this other woman who came in like 30 minutes later. And she has this inner world that is far more vast than the world we live in. And I was able to really see her depth and her power. And we had such an amazing conversation. I'm like, dude, we need to hang out some more. So she's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, let's go get an acai bowl in a few days. She goes, all right, cool, let's do it. So the next day, I'm going to meet up with this woman to go through the public speaking course. She says, "Oh, me and the other girl, we're gonna cook some food from you." I'm like, "What? Like y'all live together? What? These women live together. I met them separately, and I connected with both of them really well." So the past few days, I've been going through the course together with them and spending so much time together with them, and they're healing my relationship with love, and I'm able to be vulnerable and share my truth, and I'm terrified, but I'm so well received and accepted. It's insane the amount of healing I'm doing, but also it's like, wow, did the universe present that opportunity for me in my life? And I recently had announced that I'm gonna do the first ever Real Nigga Church service, and I've been looking for a sign this whole time to quit my job. I'm like, I want to put my 2 weeks in. I want to put my 2 weeks in. I want to put my 2 weeks in. And the day I made the announcement, later on that night, the universe sent signals like, tonight's the night. Put your 2 weeks in. Call your manager right now. And I was terrified, but I did it. And I'm like, oh man, like I have something lined up for me, like another sales position lined up for me. I'm like, okay, I can at least lean on that. But I ended up doing that sales position, and it just wasn't for me. One day, that was it for me. And I'm like, oh man, what am I gonna do for like money? Currently, right now, I have 2 more shifts to work on this job, and I'm like, oh man, like, okay, I'm gonna be in the unknown. We'll figure it out. But I'm like, okay, maybe I should, tell my manager like, hey, I actually want to stay. What am I gonna do financially, So I called her and I said, hey, I'd actually want to stay at the job. She goes, I'm sorry, I already hired your replacement. She's like, the only thing we can do is bring you back if they decide to quit during training. But when she said that to me yesterday, this happened yesterday, she said that to me, I was like, this was meant to happen. I'm meant for this door to close in my life. And this last week, Joe Rogan's comedy special, Burn the Boats, just released. And I'm like, burn the boats. And when it comes to manifesting with Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, there are 3 factors that need to go into you manifesting the life that you want. In no particular order. 1 is having a clear intention. What is it that you want? The second is having elevated emotion. And with each meditation I do, I have clear intention what I want, and I'm having tremendous amount of joy and gratitude and appreciation and love and thankfulness. And the third piece of that puzzle is you must be in the unknown. Because if you're in the known, you're trying to use your past to create your future. But in order to create a future you never had before, you got to be in a position you've never been in before. You got to be immersed in the unknown. And I was like, you know what? I'm in the unknown. This is intentional. The universe closed this door on purpose. I'm being guided. This happened yesterday. And then that woman who has the course, she calls me. She says, hey, my son really needs to ride to school tomorrow. Would you be able to take him to school? I said, absolutely, that's no problem. And she goes, yeah, it's in Lake Elsinore. I was like, I've never been to Lake Elsinore. I would love to go. And here I am at this place I've never been to before, immersed in the unknown. And last night as well, I got a text from a mentor with this opportunity that is actually so big that it doesn't even seem real. My brain doesn't even want to believe it. It's like, okay, we'll see. Because it's like, that doesn't compute in my brain. That's so far out of my reality of possibility. Well, I understand that it's possible, but It's something I was never really intentional about, but I can see how it helps me get me to where I want to go. So I mailed him some copies to help present me with this, amazing opportunity. And ultimately, we'll see. So I tell these two stories to really bring home how profound my life has been, and just really following Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings. And while these are the only two stories I share, I want to mention that there's been so much more that has come from this. So many little things that it would just be too much to tell you about. And it's happening all of the time. It's happening all the time. And I'm so grateful. I feel amazing. Each time I do a meditation, I can feel the electromagnetic field in which my heart creates. I can feel the magnetism in which I have in the quantum field. It's insane. And there again, the fish jumps out of the water once again. The magic. The magic. I'm very grateful. And I'm going to continue to do my meditations, of course, and continue to be guided, continue to have intention plus elevated emotion, and continue to immerse myself in the unknown. Life is so beautiful. There's so much available to us than what we were taught and programmed to believe. And what the meditation does is it helps deprogram ourselves, or myself, I'll speak from my own experience, from all of the stories that I told myself unconsciously, and take my attention off of the past and begin projecting my focus into the future, and vibrating at the frequency that my future's at, to pull that reality towards me. And I've had many opportunities fall into my lap. My life looks completely different. I don't experience much stress. I experience a lot of joy and gratitude, freedom really as well. I feel so connected to myself. I feel so connected to the world. I feel that I am everything. I'm every particle of the universe. It's all connected. It's all one. So, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this. If you're considering doing the meditations, I think that there will be a time where you may be called to do it. It may not be after this video. I have no clue. But if you've been doing the meditations, and if you created a video, I would love to watch it and get to experience some of the magic that you've experienced as well. So I appreciate you tremendously. Much love, and I love you. Take care.